This episode is sponsored by How to Talk to Your Kids About Alcohol. This is the most important course I have ever offered. The conversation about alcohol can be deep and difficult, and it can be a hard one to have with your kids. But this course transforms how you talk to your kids, your parenting, your journey, and it can help you create a relationship with your kids that's built on trust and respect and authenticity. In just a few hours, you'll learn how to talk to your kids about alcohol and, most importantly, how to keep them talking. How to Talk to Your Kids About Alcohol teaches you the biggest mistakes to avoid when it comes to your children and drinking. How to create relationships that are based on mutual trust, mutual respect, and openness. And what I wish I would have known as a kid before my first drink. And so much more. Please don't wait. Go to talktoyourkidsaboutalalcohol.com to learn more and enroll. Hi, this is Annie Grace, and welcome to This Naked Mind podcast. I'm here with Kyle. Hi, Kyle.
Hello, Annie. Excited to be here. Big fan of yours, obviously.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you. Thank you so much for joining. So, why don't you kind of take us way back, sort of to the beginning? I think your start, from what I understand from your story, is very much like mine, like not a huge drinker at first, actually.
Yeah, not at all. First drink was typical high school party. Had some Budweisers with friends. Nothing out of the ordinary. So high school and college athlete, so not a big drinker at all. Occasionally high school, college parties, but I wasn't the guy, where are we getting drunk tonight? Definitely was not my thing. Then even into adulthood, I had a little bit bout of depression my senior year of college. And when I graduated, I started smoking marijuana, and that seemed very helpful. And that was kind of my thing for most of my adult life. Occasional drink at a family party or a party, but not, like I said, not a huge drinker. Fast forward a couple of years ago, say 4 or 5 years ago. Professionally, I got what I thought was my dream job. Going pretty well for 6 weeks, and out of the blue, I got fired. And I won't get into details, but it was absurd that I got fired and just shocking. And it was basically over miscommunication. So very traumatic. So I kind of made a abrupt decision to up and move out to Portland, Maine, out near Scott. We have a family place on an island out there. It's, my favorite place in the world. Always kind of thought about it, so I said, what the heck, let's do it. So moved out there. Long story short, whatever could have gone wrong, went wrong. And the job I went out there for was a night job, and I found myself very antsy, I would say, during the day. And just for whatever reason, the first time I tried to relax and ease my anxiety with vodka, and it worked at first, and take the edge off. I hate that term, but initially it did, which was great until it wasn't. So a lot of things happen out there. Like I said, we could do a whole 45 minutes on that. But long story short, it didn't work out. And I'm just like, all right, let me regroup, go back home to New Jersey and start fresh. So did that. So I hadn't crossed that visible threshold yet, but it was becoming a bit of an issue. Moved back, had a job I was not very happy at. So in that time, I was sharing an office with a older woman who was not very nice, let's just say that. So a lot of stress and anxiety over that. And that's when, for whatever reason, one morning I decided I was going to have a drink before work, because I was just really antsy about how much I didn't like the job and wanted to leave, but I bounced around a little bit, so I couldn't leave. I didn't feel like I could leave. And that's when the descent started. Like I said, it kind of almost became a normal thing to just start the day with a drink to knock out my anxiety. And it's crazy thinking about it now, but that was the logic, I guess, back then.
Yeah.
So anyway, I finally did find a new job in the golf business, which is what I was doing. And it led to a general manager job, which where I'm at now, where I'm happy. We had a great first year. I was still kind of on the cusp of that invisible line, but wasn't really admitting it was a problem. And we won an award for most improved facility. So thinking, hey, everything's great, even though I kind of knew in the background something's up here. So then we'll fast forward to COVID, where we actually had our company celebration in March, that first week of March down in Florida, where it was just kind of becoming a joke. So get back from the celebration, put the bags down, start work at the golf course. Within a couple of weeks, we're shut down. So furloughed for a couple of months, and that's obviously there's no blame, can't blame COVID, but I had crossed that invisible line just before COVID, so it didn't help.
Right.
So it obviously got really bad then, waking up every morning and A, watching the news, B, trying to get your unemployment situated, that's not working, stimulus doesn't come, just crazy stress and anxiety. And what do you do when you're stressed and anxious and you're a drinker?
Yeah.
So it got a little worse then, with the kind of like drinking daily and throughout the day a little bit. Then we had about 2 days to prepare for reopening. Golf courses were one of the first businesses to reopen. And I wasn't expecting what ended up happening. The business absolutely exploded because you can naturally social distance. So it's all people could do and all they wanted to do. So it was just home for 2 months, drinking, doing nothing, to absolute, craziness every single day. So, yeah, the descent continued. But like I said, I was still holding down a job and doing my thing. That fall, met a really great woman, ended up dating her for about a year, but she was also a drinker, and not a problem drinker, I would say, but we would get together and drink. That's what we did. So like I said, wonderful woman, great relationship. But once I really got to the time where I knew I had to quit, I actually ended up breaking it off with her because I didn't think I could do it while still dating her. So that's what I did.
And so what had you say, I knew I needed to quit? Like what prompted that? Or was it just this knowing that was sort of?
It was a couple things. I think last August was a big one. For the first time ever, I missed a day of work because I was, just too hungover to even think about going in. So yeah, then also I got heat stroke that summer. Worked the golf course. I was helping out outside. Hot day. I had obviously been drinking the day before, so I get heat stroke because I was obviously dehydrated and not drinking enough water in a hot day working outside. So a couple of days I end up in the ER, and they're doing some tests on my heart. They find a heart condition, and the cardiologist is explaining to me, like, you have a premature ventricular contraction and blah blah blah, which is wildly uncomfortable. It's basically just a skip beat, like a heart flutter, but it's very uncomfortable. She goes, so you really have to stay hydrated. And I remember saying to her, I was actually really hoping you'd say I have to stop drinking. And her reply was, no, just stay hydrated. And she obviously didn't know the level I was drinking, where it's almost impossible to stay hydrated if you're drinking a significant amount.
Right.
So But that was a theme throughout. I said that to a lot of doctors, like I'm drinking too much, and kind of got the, well, be careful, like.
Yeah, it's so fascinating, right? So fascinating.
Yeah, so that was around the time I said, okay, and something's got to stop. So I called an outpatient rehab program, and this was shocking to me too. This was an outpatient program that offered 3 hours a night, twice a week. I thought that was interesting, good place to start. So I called this place, and this woman, after an hour conversation, tells me, you absolutely have to get in here tomorrow for a 10-day detox. That's the only thing I can, in good faith, recommend. And I said, I'd like to try this first, and then maybe we can do that if this doesn't work. She said, nope, I can't do that. I said, okay, let me think about it. I'll call you tomorrow. Call her in the morning and say, I'm not interested. I'm going to find another route. And she went crazy. She started texting me like, these are all irrational fears, man. She called me man.
Oh my gosh.
Like, you have to get in here. These are irrational fears, this and that. I said, I'm at work. We can talk about this later, but this is like harassment. She goes, you asked me for help. This is not harassment. You called me. Oh, so that wasn't great.
Was she like a therapist or a salesperson, or?
She was just an intake person. I don't know if maybe she gets a bigger commission if I do a 10-day detox. I didn't understand it.
Wow, interesting.
So after that, I didn't go in there, but I was damn sure was going to do 10 days at least after that conversation.
You're like, I can do this myself, woman.
Yeah. So I did. I managed about 14 and then had a slip.
But in that, you proved to yourself, like, that's just so empowering. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, and I survived it. So
yeah, white knuckled the hell of it, but it's like, okay, I can at least do that. That was like a good first, which I had done in the past, like, oh, I'll try a 30-day challenge the year before. And it's like, oh, I made 24 days. I'm good.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
Totally.
So then I call another place, same thing, outpatient program. And this one seemed a little more in line, and they were much more perceptive or acceptive of what I wanted to do. And it was similar, talk to a psychiatrist, have a counselor, supposed to have a group session once a week, which never ended up happening. So the psychiatrist I spoke to, first time I spoke to her, she said rehab too. I said, I don't want to do rehab. I want to try this first, and then we can go from there. I said, okay. So all she did said, oh, let's try Naltrexone. Let's put you on that. Should help with your cravings. Okay, so this is November. We're finally start to put some days together. I have a quick, funny Naltrexone story. So obviously, there's a lot of discussion on Naltrexone on your Facebook site. So yeah, obviously Naltrexone is supposed to stop cravings, block the euphoric feeling. So I started to take it November 1st, and I wasn't drinking at the time. And we had Thanksgiving dinner, and I, told my mother I wasn't drinking. She said, great, good for you. But then I was thinking, we were downstairs after dinner. For some reason, I just had the thought, well, how do I know if it blocks the euphoric feeling? Like, I haven't had a drink on it. So I walk upstairs and sneak over to my mom's cabinet, and I take a few shots of vodka. Of course, she walks up the stairs as I'm doing this. She goes, I thought you were drinking. Like, I'm not, I'm just texting the Naltrexone. So I had to explain that.
And
yeah,
did it block the feeling?
It did. It just kind of made you feel a little off, is all I can say. Yeah, just off. But so yeah, stayed on that for a little while. So yeah, then the program, like I said, was going okay. I had the every week meeting with the counselor, the psychiatrist, and the group, but the group never happened. So then I was getting ready for my first appointment in January. I said, oh, let me, get them my new insurance information, because our company had just gotten bought by a big firm. I said, oh, sorry, we don't accept that.
Oh, shoot.
Okay. And for some reason, I wasn't all that disappointed. I remember seeing something I wrote saying, oh, I had to leave the program today because they wanted $2,000 a month or something that was, I felt just okay. I remember writing, and I have it, said, no big deal. I'm like, I actually kind of like this Annie Grace. I'm going to start her alcohol experiment tomorrow. So see how that goes.
Oh, awesome.
So yeah, I did that, and besides the getting drunk for science that you did, nothing since.
That's, well, first of all, that's just amazing. Congratulations. But second of all, how was getting drunk for science? What was your experience with that like?
It was enlightening, and one of the few people I do recommend doing that if you're in that, because I was like you, still I had a couple of months under my belt. I did it more because I had read Alan Carr's book, obviously, and all about the last drink, this and that, and it's like I never did that. But then I saw your experiment. I'm like, that's interesting. I'm like, so I did it. It was the most eye-opening and powerful thing I did. I didn't record it, but I journaled throughout it. If you want to hear some of the horrific.
I'd love to do it if you have it at hand.
I do. So like I said, it had probably been 2 months. I had a little morning nagging cravings. I'm like, you know what, let's do. Then I saw your video on that day. I'm like, all right, let's do it. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. The last 9 times I drank were all horrible, but this one in particular, because I literally locked myself in my room, just drank. And as the story goes, the first 20 minutes were fine. Yeah, that I'm going to actually try and enjoy it. Feeling okay, relaxed right now. So then I came home, and I was home. I said, all right, let's shut the door, turned off the TV, and it was just terrible. I mean, within the second drink, I had already kind of started sweating and feeling bad. Like it's almost like my body was rejecting it. But what was more kind of alarming is kind of where I went up and down in my journaling. I literally went from okay and feeling good. If I could not drink till the weekend, I can try to moderate. Fast forward an hour later, drinking sucks. No more trying to moderate. I can't do it. Commit to rehab or the path if you're going to keep drinking. And it got a little darker. I don't really want to go too into it. But I said, hey, I didn't enjoy it. Shocking. Fuck me. I have hiccups, sweats all night. I have to stop. And I had already stopped, but a terrible headache after 6 Advil. Alcohol is the worst. Remember this terrible feeling. Headache after 6 Advil. You're eating crap at 12:45 at night. Dehydrated, hiccups. Your heart is fluttering, and now you have night sweats. So yeah, not much craving after that night.
Gosh, it's so powerful. It's like, it's so fascinating because I rarely talk to somebody who actually does it, like get drunk for science. And I'm a big fan of like, whatever you want. Like, no, I'm never going to pressure somebody to go get drunk, right? That's like out of my whole integrity. And it was one of the most powerful things I'd ever done. But you really have to wait those, at least a few months, be far away from it. You really do have to do it when you're by yourself. There's no distractions. It's fascinating because so many people will be like, I tried that. I decided I was just going to get drunk for science. We were out at the bar and I just ordered a few. And I'm like, no, you missed the point. Like, that's just drinking. That's not trying to isolate the variable, right? Like
Exactly.
the variable is alcohol to my experience. That's what I want to isolate. And I want to understand what my experience is like with or without it. And yeah, it was,
hopefully you don't end up killing your dog.
Did that happen?
No, you said that in your video.
Me, when I was so mad at my dogs. Oh, I know.
Yeah, so I'd like to kill my dog tonight.
Yes, they were alive. Those dogs have since, they were very old even in that video. So they've since left, but not because of my drinking. So that was natural causes. It is amazing how after that, here we are 8 years later and I'm like, yeah, all I have to do is think of that moment. And there's no part of me that wants to drink anymore. And yeah, it's just so powerful, but also very much commend people who do what you want to do. No pressure, but that's
If it weren't such a toxic poison, I would do it once a month just to really, pound it home.
yeah, remind yourself, yeah, like, this really does suck. I think it was in one of Alan Carr's books where he would just smoke a pack of cigarettes every like 6 months or something. I think it might have been his book, but just to like remind himself of how terrible it was. And it was just so interesting just to be like, yep, no, this still sucks. It's still terrible. I still feel horrible. So it's just fascinating. Well, congratulations. What a cool story. Very, very
Yeah.
cool.
So after that, it was, started exercising and felt like March turned the corner. Then like March to June, I had like pretty much a pink cloud for those whole, 3-4 months. It was crazy in a good way. I mean, I remember saying to my mom one night on the phone, I said, I feel weird saying this, but I'm experiencing joy for like the first time, like maybe ever. And I have.
Oh, that's just amazing, Kyle. I just like love that story. It makes me
So drinking gave me sleep apnea too, which is miserable. And I had a follow up with my, sleep doctor a couple of months ago. He's like, "You haven't been using your CPAP much." I said, "No, I mean, I quit drinking and don't think I need it. I think that's what caused everything." He goes, "Yeah, probably. It is a terrible poison."
like,
He goes,
why didn't you tell me this before?
"Right, thank you." Ugh.
It is interesting though, because I have to wonder, like, because in my experience, if doctors are pushed on it, or if you say I don't drink anymore, they're like, oh, that's great. I'm really glad about that. But they never will say it. And I wonder if they did at one point and people just left their practice and just moved on to find a different doctor that would give them lip service. And so they're nervous about it. Or, I mean,
That's interesting.
also drinking, but I'm like,
An interesting theory.
in care. And if we're not getting, I mean, if I would have been talking to my doctor about it when I was drinking heavily and they would have been needling me about it or trying to get me, I would have switched doctors 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
So I remember saying I was drinking too much and feeling depressed with my primary, and he just gave me a card for a psychiatrist who, of course, wasn't taking patients. So that was very helpful.
Yeah, I think that I would have, I mean, once I was, well, I don't know that I was ever ready to stop drinking. I think I just did all the research and I was like, oh, I think I'm done drinking. But I didn't, there wasn't ever this like time where I was like, okay, I'm going to stop drinking. And so I wasn't looking for somebody to tell me to stop. So if they would have told me, mentioned anything about my drinking, or if I would have felt critical, like energy from them, or as if they were accusing, yeah, I think I would have switched doctors. When you live in a city, there's lots of options.
Well, that's got to be it.
So cool. So how has everything been going since,
Great. I was best man at my brother's wedding a few months ago, which was a blast. First wedding not ruined by drinking for several years. Had a great time. Kind of connected with the maid of honor. Fortunately, she lives in Florida, but we were talking about maybe trying to make that work, but it's a little too much right now. But I did, had a great time. Speech was great. My brother cried. He hadn't cried in, I think, ever.
Oh, that's amazing.
I did the gritty. You know what the gritty is? When you come in? No. It's a dance move that the NFL players do.
Oh, nice.
So I did that going in. I took Catherine Gray's suggestion about actually practicing my sober dance moves. So it went pretty well.
Oh, that's so cool. So amazing.
And you'll like this, I did try to give him Dr. Sarno's book, Healing Back Pain, because he's had some horrible back injuries, broken vertebrae, and herniated discs. And I gave it to him. Unfortunately, he's not quite as open to it. I said, "Oh, well, does he have herniated discs and broken vertebrae?"
Yeah.
I said, "No, but he's treated millions who have, and if you're open to it," that he's like, "No."
Yeah.
I try.
It's hard. And it's interesting when you are open to stuff like that, because I think I was really skeptical And then I was, obviously mind blown, totally changed my life. And then I was like, maybe this other stuff will work. And now it's like somebody can just be like, ooh, I'm going to heal your energy. And I'm going to be like, I feel amazing. And now I'm like, it's probably placebo, but I'm so willing to believe it that it's fine.
Whatever works.
Whatever works. Oh, great. Well, Kyle, let me ask you the question that I sort of finished these off with, which is if you were going to go back in time and talk to, an earlier version of yourself who was struggling, what would you say to him?
Well, if you're giving me the ability to go back in time, then you're going to give me the ability to be a videographer. And what I would do is create a 15-minute video montage of a day in the life of drinking. So if I could physically see it, what I was doing, I'm pretty confident I would have stopped a lot earlier, because it just felt like such a out-of-body thing to be going through, having not been a drinker my whole life. But I've thought about this too. A lot of the quick lit books that I've read, I mean, it seems like you have to get to a certain level of suffering or despair to tap out and to, do that 180 and to feel that, that real euphoria you get in that pink cloud. Like, it seems like a lot of the books say, I feel like I had to get to that low, not a rock bottom. Rock bottom is death. So,
right.
But yeah, no, I just feel really lucky. I never got a DWI or hurt anybody or hurt myself. And life's good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that idea of, whatever it is for somebody, really that readiness for change, right? Like, you got to know it's all up to you, that there's no one coming, and that it's got to happen now. And you've got to be like willing. And I think so much of us is we spend so much time almost like waiting for our future selves to like, I'll fix this someday, just not today. Like, we know we have it in us. We really do. There's a part of us that we know we have it in us to make.
Or I'm going to try. I'm going to do this challenge. And then it seems like the common theme, everyone does a 30-day challenge and makes it 3 weeks and thinks they're okay.
Yeah. And it's like this stamp of approval. Like, okay, I must not be broken then. I proved it.
3 whole weeks. Oof.
I remember doing that with every pregnancy I had. Oh yeah, well, look at that. I could not drink for 9 months. Totally fine. And then my drinking each time.
That's another theory of mine, that women have that glow because they just stop drinking.
Oh, I like that theory. I bet there's a really true aspect to that.
Well, if 90% of the country drinks,
right, like almost everybody is drinking. Yeah,
so
for sure.
That's a working theory.
That's cool. And I do feel like, yeah, I mean, vanity wise, I certainly look better now than I did when I was drinking. And that was 8 years ago. I've aged 8 years and I look better. So I was like,
well, yeah, they say, hey, you look amazing, by the way.
oh, thank you.
But,
yeah, teeth,
yeah,
eyes.
I have a little celebrity crush on you. Well, they say you age 5 years in reverse your first year of quitting, which I say is accurate. God, no more sleep apnea, no more blood pressure, cholesterol problems, liver problems.
How is your heart?
Fine. If I don't drink, there's no flutter. I drink a ton of water and it's almost never feel it.
That's incredible.
And it's like you said, you save yourself, but you had a lot to do with it.
Oh, well, yes, you do save yourself, but thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Just awesome. Well, anything else you want to share?
I don't think so. When are you going to start making mine mocktail bars?
Oh my gosh. So like, for real, this is uncanny that you asked this question. All right. So this is this came today. Today we're recording this on it's the 13th of September. And they are my 3 versions of I'm going to do a powdered Euphoria. This one is Moscow Mule. And so that because I always am drinking like the sparkling waters. And I was like, I just want something flavored to put my sparkling waters or in my waters. This is a lemon toddy, creamy lemon toddy, sleep assist. And then I have one that's a mango margarita that's like super, lots of speed bumps. That's it's a liquid courage. So like, and it's all been researched with these. Yeah, I've been working with this like herbalist to figure out how to bring in things like ashwagandha and HTP5 and GABA and stuff to create these really healthy, natural, sugar-free, you know, using things like natural sweeteners in order to like, I just feel like if we could have something, and I don't know I'm going to name it yet, but like something in your pocket that you're just like, you feel prepared, it's in your pocket. I'm working on one that the formulation is much more difficult, but it's going to be on cravings. So because there are herbs that help suppress cravings and help you get through that first 30 days. But yeah, just to kind of feel prepared. And I imagine packaging that is super cheeky, like, hey, psst, by the way, you're the only one here who's not going to have a headache tomorrow, or, you know, like you're going to sleep through the night. All these people are waking up at 3 a.m., you know, just little things that help you feel like affirmed and like
and you'll get the sleep kind. You'll get the sleep kind that won't disrupt your sleep and rob you of your REM sleep.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been trying to work. I've worked with like a addictionologist and a doctor and a naturopath, and it's been a much longer process because I was like, this will be easy and this will be fun. And the first company I worked with, I got some versions and they just made me jittery and feel bad. I'm like, you just poured caffeine into. So this is my third company. But I might be close. We'll see. Or everybody and their mom will have a mocktail before this Naked Mind does, because that's what's happening. Like even Katy Perry has a mocktail. So I don't know. I might be like late to the party, but that's all right too. Whatever.
Well, that's what I said at the Naked Mind bar.
Well, one of our coaches has she started the first alcohol-free bar and bottle shop in the nation. And it's in Denver, here in Denver, and it's called Awake. And now there's quite a few of them, but yeah, it started there. And like, I mean, it's really cool what's happening. It's very different than, you know, the 8 years ago that I was exploring this conversation, but it's just really cool. It's amazing. But anyway, that was so ironic that you asked about that. It's super fun. I literally told no one I was doing this. This has been
it's weird. I've always like been on the same page with you. I've just kind of followed everything you do. I eliminated the word should, which I recommend to everyone.
Awesome.
I've rewritten several texted emails. I'm like, I was going to say should. How do I rephrase this?
Well, one of the coolest things about what you wrote in, and I won't keep you too much longer, but how you said, all right, I'm going to try the alcohol experiment. And then at the end of the alcohol experiment, we have this thing called non-negotiables, which means if I break this, then I'm going to, and it doesn't have to mean like I have another drink, but it has to mean like my non-negotiables were that I didn't black out, for instance. So, you know, because I was trying to drink moderately, but that didn't work as we realize. But yours was, if I can't do this, I'm going to join the path. And you just haven't needed to. And I just think that's just the coolest thing. I'm like, what a great non-negotiable, especially because I wrote that before the path existed. So I had like, if you break it, like talk to your doctor or put something in there that you have to put like skin in the game. And anyway, I just thought that was really cool. And congratulations.
Thank you. And thank you so much.
So cool. Well, thanks so much, Kyle. Thank you for coming on. It's been really fun.
Thank you.
Wouldn't it be great if our children never had to go through the pain and challenges that we faced in our own relationships with alcohol? That's my greatest wish for my own kids, and it's why I created the most important course that I've ever offered, How to Talk to Your Kids About Alcohol. Now, even if you've struggled with alcohol and you're not sure what to talk to your kids about it, or if you want to create a relationship with your children that's based on mutual respect, mutual trust, and open communication, if you know that this conversation might be one of the most important you'll have with your kids and it just can't wait any longer, then this course is for you. It includes lifetime access to 6 video modules, a bonus recorded Q&A session where I answer questions from parents live, just like you, an interactive workbook, and our private and exclusive How to Talk to Your Kids About Alcohol online community, where you can connect with others who are also navigating this important conversation. Visit talktoyourkidsaboutAlcohol.com to learn more and enroll today. And as always, rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, as it truly helps the message reach somebody who might need to hear it today.